All right, and we are live. It's going to take a few seconds for the YouTube to finally get people on here, and we have a special guest called this guy. He's one of my friends. Maybe he'll be joining the Discord soon. But I know him through other social media. And this live stream was inspired by the previous live stream I did with Yiz the Eunuch, and the conversation we had was centered around the election and the amount of enthusiasm, the amount of just pure grassroots mobility of the right to essentially say we've had enough. And I had to take a moment to step back and really ask myself, what is the other side fighting for? Like, what are what's their mantra? What is their whole, what is their shtick? What is their ethos? That permits them to say and do the things that they do, and why the hell do Christians fall for it? And the one thing that I could really gather from all of the one thing that sticks out is their constant rambling about fighting against so-called hate. And it struck me as odd. It struck me as incredibly odd that Christians who are told point blank that they will be hated for what they believe, and even if you're not a Christian yourself, you live in a country that was founded on Christian virtues, a Christian ethos, and the idea that you as a Christian or you as a patriot of a fundamentally Christian nation, the idea that you could eradicate hate is not doctrinally sound in any way, shape, or form. Your job as a Christian or your duty as a patriot is not to fight hate. Because hate, if you're doing the right thing, the laws of nature is dictated not just through your own experience, but through scripture. Whoa, I think I lost my guest. Where did he go? But I guess I'll just continue. The uh, the whole thrust of it is if you're doing the right thing. There he is. He's back.
Oh, you're there.
Yeah, you
Right.
disappeared on me for a second there.
I apologize. Anyway, go on.
But no, as I was saying, like if you're doing the right thing, the assumption is that you're going to be hated. So, what is it that the left means when they say that they're fighting hate? And do you have any thoughts on that question? Like, what is it that the left is actually saying when they tell us to fight hate, and why do we keep falling for it?
Well, I think the fundamental problem that we're coming across is that the left is striving towards some sort of utopian vision. Uh, and as a man of the right, I can't really give much insight as to why that is the case. I can't really give any insight as to what their methodology is towards what we're talking about here. But what I will say here is that the problem Christians have when combating the left is, at least in the West, the Protestants.
Those dirty Protestants, dude. Are you still there? Hello. I don't know what he was saying, but for someone, let me see if he's muted.
Um, my mic's on.
Okay.
You there?
Yeah, for some odd reason, like you cut out on at least my end. I hope that I hope that the stream caught it.
Anyway.
All
Um,
right.
so the problem we have, at least in the West, in the Protestant sphere, as you might have it. Problem is Christians here are quite compassionate. They're quite open towards they're quite open towards criticism. They're quite adverse towards conflict.
Mm-hmm. Very true. Very,
That
very true.
this might be something uniquely evident within Protestantism. Now, I'm not sure what sect you belong to, but you don't really see this in sort of the hardcore Catholics or the Eastern Orthodox.
No.
Uh, you don't see that sort of you see much more conviction within at least those two sects of Christianity.
Well,
Uh,
my own brand of Christianity, for those who aren't already aware, I am a Latter-day Saint. I'm a Mormon, and the Mormons are another group that, especially in the terms of critical race theory, progressivism, LGBT things, we've also been rather strong on those positions. We haven't bent the knee in any way, shape, or form, despite many attempts by the left to force us to. And so, we do have that kind of ethos behind us as well. But no, I do share that same sentiment with the Catholics and the Eastern Orthodox, completely in spite of the current pope. And so, yeah, I feel a lot of sympathy for those for those Catholics today who feel betrayed by this sentiment that they are obligated to help in this fight against hate, and that there is no call in Christian doctrine to fight hate whatsoever. And as I said before, to hatred towards a Christian for doing the right thing is something to be expected. It's not something that we're supposed to have this eternal crusade against. And what it really got me thinking, because when the left says we want to fight hate, what they're actually saying is we are going to declare war against your own mind and your own experiences. You are not allowed to to hold quote unquote racist views. You're not allowed to, even if those experiences are not purely abstract. If you had a personal experience that has put you off against any group of people because you have experienced that this group of people or these circumstances are bad for you, you're not allowed to, you are not permitted to express or believe those in those experiences. And that to me is a terrifying thought. It's an inhuman demand, because that's what we are as humans. Like, your IQ, your intelligence quotient, is determined by problem solving and pattern recognition. You cannot tell someone who is cognizant of their surroundings to disregard their life experiences and the patterns that surround them. To ask them to do that is literally inhuman. And the fact that we have to have a sit down and discussion about what hate means in regards to the left just shows how far gone we are in terms of what words actually mean when talking with the left. That's another layer to this problem. So I really do feel kind of, how would you say, in conflict with this entire concept of um, what it is we need to do. And in my mind, as a Christian, we need to fight rather the fear of vocalizing those experiences and living life as we know it to exist.
well, this sucks.
What sucks? Explain.
Let me get on data. See if that
Oh,
fixes it. All right.
okay. All
You
right, go
there?
on. I'm still here. You haven't been kicked off, man.
Uh-huh. Um, well, shoot.
Let me guess, your Wi-Fi conked out on you.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. I apologize. I'm in the sticks.
This boomer moment was brought to you by this guy.
Well, I apologize. Anyway, I think it would do good to really describe what we talk about when we speak of hate. In terms of hating who, or what are we talking about when we say hate?
Well, and that is of course the primary question is what examples do the left show us that are demonstrating hate? Was the death of Michael Brown an event of hate when a police officer had to shoot him after he was being charged by him? According to the left, that this is a racial act of hatred. And is that something that needs to be fought? The answer, of course, should be no. We like law and order, but it's far more insidious than that. It's a form of mind control almost. It's a form of, if you experience anything negative by these protected classes, don't you dare talk about it. That's what it comes down to. And we need to fight the fear of talking about those negative experiences far more than we should be invested in the alleged hatred attached to them. So that really was that really is the grift, and it goes so far, it goes so extreme that in the UK there were unironic articles from their mainstream media that asked rape victims not to report on or speak condescendingly of the rapist because they happen to be Muslim. They happen to be quote unquote Asian men, and that's how fucked this is. Um, they're talking about fighting hate by terrorizing people into not speaking the truth about their experiences. And that's why I find it to be so inhuman and so degrading. And on top of that, we have almost this inherent compassionate ethos from mainstream Christianity that says, "Oh, we have to fight hate as well," when I don't see any indication of that being true or being real. Because as I've said before, when you are a good Christian and the world hates you for it, it's expected. So I am lacking the ability to see why any Christian would find any benefit in fighting against hate for their enemies when there's clearly not going to be any sorts of reciprocity, especially when it's declared in scripture that you're not going to get any.
So I
Especially,
think I think
go
I
on.
have a answer.
Okay.
Now, the problem with Protestantism in the West is that you have the problem of sola scriptura. Now, for those who are not aware, sola scriptura is a prescription that the the interpretation of the text is up to the eye of the beholder. This is a phenomenon that is
Mm.
wholly unique within Protestantism. You don't see this in Catholic.
Did I lose you again, man? Hey, chat. Can you hear this guy?
Do we have chat?
Yes, we do have chat. Alex, yes. Christianity is the punching bag of modernity.
I won't say that. I would argue against that. I would say Protestantism uniquely is the punching bag because you have this problem of sola scriptura. Anyway, as I was going on, the
Mm-hmm.
problem with sola scriptura is that you have no unifying value system. that you would have, say, in the Catholic Church or Eastern Orthodoxy. What this means is that you have no unifying morality to bind you together. What this, in effect, means is that the Western Church, as it is in the United States and Western Europe, is uniquely, they have absolutely no bulwark against progressivism. Now, the reason why you see such resistance in, say, Russia or the
Man, he cut out again. Okay, so he's gonna when he comes back, we're gonna talk about Russia and the Eastern Orthodox and their resistance to this mind cancer known as fighting hate. But as we said before, that this is about the Christians being bolder about fighting the fear of speaking what you know to be true, rather than jumping on the bandwagon of fighting alleged hate for literally no benefit to you. Are you back, man?
I think I am. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you loud and clear.
Okay.
So,
All right.
so you were talking on about the Russia and the Eastern Church. Please continue.
The Eastern Orthodox Church. If you do any study on the Eastern Orthodox Church, you would realize that they are very traditional, and all this is rooted in the fact that they have a solid doctrine that acts against bulwark, and that acts as a bulwark against progressivism. And this is a reason why I myself am. This is what really draws me towards that specific church myself. But
No,
that's
and I've met many other Eastern Orthodox, and they are rock solid. Like every single one of my friends who's Eastern Orthodox, I support them 100%. I get what they're about. I think he cut out again. This is Boomerism 101. Protestantism lacks a centralized authority. Yeah, they do. And when he was talking about sola scriptura, he's actually 100% right. And not only does that belong to how would you say? Not only is that a phenomenon of let me restart that. Sola scriptura ignores the established hierarchy of scripture that exists not just in the Old Testament but in the New. In the New Testament, what many people don't realize, especially if you're a Protestant in the United States, is that scripture and doctrine has a hierarchy. The top of that hierarchy is the Gospels, the words of Christ himself. Then you have below him what we call in the back of the New Testament as the epistles general, the writings and words of Paul, of Peter, James, John, Jude, all of the epistles general these were letters that were sent out from the heads of the church to the entire church. And then below that, you have these one-off letters that Paul wrote to each individual church as their needs demanded. And what we don't emphasize is that there's not a single thing that Paul could say in one of his letters that is supposed to be interpreted to contradict the writings of either Peter or John or James in their general epistles or the words of Christ. And one of the degenerate aspects of sola scriptura is that a Protestant can read or interpret the scriptures in such a way that the writings of Paul can, in fact, contradict the words of the original apostles or Christ himself. Did I get that right?
I believe so. So what I would I would probably expand upon that and say that because you don't have a central authority dictating what the scripture means, this is why you have so many different denominations within the Protestant church. I mean, one only has to look at the Arian heresy to see that, yes, you can look at scripture and interpret it many different meanings from one said text. And because of
True.
that, you have no unifying morality. And thusly,
Yes.
yeah,
Yeah.
thusly, this is why you have so much progressive, uh, such a
Infiltration.
infiltration. Correct. This is why you have so much progressive infiltration within the Protestant church, because what the
So
progressive because what progressives have essentially done, if I could speak,
yes,
they have essentially taken uh, Christian sentimentality.
and abused it. Yes, I think we lost him again. Um, but no, he is absolutely right. They have used and abused Christian sentimentality to the extreme, to an extreme that is not doctrinal. Are you back, sir?
I believe so.
Okay. Go on. Go ahead. You were speaking about the the Protestant sentiments that the progressives are taking advantage of.
You know, it's funny. If you ever get to read this text called, I believe it's called Rock and Sand. It's by a Eastern Orthodox theologian. And what
Mm-hmm.
he does in this text is he breaks down the various different denominations of Protestantism. And it's funny because he settles it down to this. Um, the fact of the matter is the church has a specific set of doctrine. And come
Yes.
about 1500, you have Martin Luther, who, while I believe he was right to respond to the heresies of the Catholic Church. But the
Yeah.
fact of the matter is that he took it a little bit too far.
I would agree with that. I'm actually more of a fan of Tyndale more than I am of Luther, but please do continue. And he will continue in a little bit, I suppose. Um, as most of you can tell, we're having some internet uh, hijinks with this guy's stream. He's cutting in and out. But anyways, is he back? Hello, are you there, man?
I'm on data right now. Let's see if that works.
Okay.
Okay.
Let's just try and keep it on data.
All right. Okay. So anyway, what you see is, and this also happens with the Catholic Church. What you see in the 17th century is, of course, the Hundred Years' War between the Protestants and the Catholics. And this all has to do with various different sets of doctrine. And the Eastern Orthodox are looking to the West and thinking, man, what are you doing? I mean, this is crazy. We know what's happening here. I mean, we know what's right, we know what's wrong. It's just what's happening here is the Protestants are in fact reinventing scripture.
Exactly.
And yeah, that's offspring of this idea that there is no central authority in interpreting scripture.
I would agree. I would
And
agree
again,
entirely.
I know I sound like a broken record, but this is why you have this progressivism.
And his internet cut out again. Anyways, but no, and when he gets back, what I'm hoping that we're able to settle upon is what are the doctrinal truths that we need to ground ourselves in to help protect us from the accusation or the need to fight hate when there is no Christian calling to do so. And I'm sure we'll get a good response when he comes back. But anyways, so for those of you who just jumped on, or for those of you who stayed on, thank you. This is the Carnal Conservative. Uh, if you're interested in joining me for a stream with far less technical difficulties, hit on the Discord and jump in, and we'll hopefully get you on. Are you back, sir?
Okay. I kind of want to dissect this question here by Alex here. Is he referring to its reformists? Is he referring to the Protestants?
Yes.
I would imagine he is. I imagine he is. I probably agree. I mean, you don't see this sort of nonsense within the outer sects of the Christian church. What was your question? I apologize.
My question to you was, if you have me on in the background, please mute the YouTube stream. But my question to you was going to be, what are the sound doctrinal foundations that would help bulwark Christians from being subverted by this call to fight against hate when they have no doctrinal need to engage in such a fight? And what is the stronger Christian ethos and how we should respond to this kind of cultural struggle that we're having?
Well, that's it's a very expansive question to answer. I think it would, to do justice to the question. I think it would be proper to really investigate the minutia. I mean, the specific questions of scripture. I think it would. I struggle to answer the question because it's so expansive.
True. But let's just start out with some basics. In Scripture, in the doctrine, in the established canon and traditions, are Christians obligated to fight the hatred of the world?
Well, again, I mean, I think it would do us authority to ask us: are we addressing the hostility towards our faith, or are we? What do we mean by hatred?
Well, I suppose, and again, we can only look to the left, who's defined these terms and their own examples, to say what it means to fight against hatred. And even in the most charitable, interpretation, the only example that I can pull is, let's say, for example, I don't know, someone wants to come out to their parents. Should we be fighting against the parents' response to their children coming out? Is that a worthy Christian cause to fight against hate? Supposedly.
Well, now I'll be completely transparent here and say that as a Christian, I believe we should love all and ask ourselves. I'm not entirely sure how to address such a situation. How would you do so?
I'll be perfectly honest. My position is that parents are responsible to raise their children in such a way that their children have the optimal chance of happiness and success. Now, and I say that I have a sibling who is gay, and even after those troubling years of his adolescence and coming out um, and having to work through those issues, I don't begrudge my parents whatsoever having an issue with him coming out. I think it was right for them to fight for their child to live a heterosexual lifestyle. And it shows even today, after they've, accepted him for who he was and all this stuff, even still, they still have conversations where my brother is jealous. He is remorseful that he looks at my life with a wife and kids, and he says, well, why can't I have that? And the answer
Mm.
is, you, for the lack of a better phrase, chose to be gay and live that lifestyle. So a parent has every right to sit their child down and say, this is not conducive to your happiness in the long run. This is not something that will be good for you. And like the honesty and heartfelt anxiety that a parent has for a child considering that lifestyle is honest, it is good, it is and it's worth a parent trying to intervene on that child's development. it, a parent should have every right to say to a child, I think that's a bad decision. I do not feel that acting on those feelings is good for your happiness, for your quality of life. And that's not hatred. That's truth at the end of the day. So again, and of course, there is, and I'm going to go back and simply state the obvious. Even when it's hate pointed in the direction of the Christian, we are told to expect this because we are good and because the world's going to hate us for being good. We we're told to simply bear it. I don't know why Christians feel the need to intercede on the behalf of that which is either A, openly evil, or B, not good, to say, oh, we need to stop the hatred for that, when clearly there will be no reciprocity, that there will be no give back from these forces. So the idea that Christians should be fighting hate really baffles me. It truly floors me that Christians have taken upon themselves, or are being beholden to take upon themselves, this mantle of fighting hate. It is really self-defeating, and it holds no value, that we will get nothing from it. So that's where I stand on it. I mean, there is nothing better for this world than to be boldly and unapologetically Christian, because right now it's something that the world is lacking. And because of that lack, we have children who are being misinformed. And it's only going to make them miserable later. So, what are your thoughts on that point of view? Did I lose him again? Yeah. So,
That sucks. Um,
so we're
okay, so
all right.
okay, you there?
I'm still here. I was just waiting for your response,
Anyway,
as it were.
okay, so I think that it really comports the idea that Western Christianity is a shallow faith without much moral conviction. Because if you have this this much of malleability, this much play in the fundamental beliefs in the system. It really
Correct.
doesn't comport to a very rigid system. Um, and again, I think it would do us good to understand that without a rigid dogmatic belief, you don't have much of a belief at all, I would say.
Hmm. So, and I would agree. I think that the what is the saying? Um, oh my gosh, I need to remember this quote. It goes something like a religion that does not demand the utmost from its adherents cannot have the power of salvation, or something to that effect. Hello? I have lost him again. This is going to be a continual battle this stream. The technology powers that be are messing with my guest Wi-Fi. Fantastic.
Well, I'll tell you what. I'll try to get off, and we can perhaps continue this later on.
All right, that's fair enough. Um, I guess we'll end this here due to technical difficulties. But always, guys, stay carnal and God bless. We'll be having this discussion another time on another date. Stay tuned. Thank you, guys. Bye.